up, so thank you very much. Quick reminder before we begin, as you see the sign at the bottom and top of every slide, we are asking you to keep the content of this presentation inside the community only. And please do not share any of this information outside. We trust you to keep this confidential information with you. And that's it. Let's get going. So agenda, a little bit about what we're going to discuss. So we're going to start over with a short overview of the team, us, basically the beta team, and then we're going to talk a little bit about you as a community, presenting some highlights from the previous year. Later on, we're going to discuss a little bit about suggestions and give you a glimpse of how the suggestion workflow is working on our end, so you get a better understanding of how things look when we review your suggestions. Later on, we're going to talk about the goals for this year, and then we're going to finish with the Q&A. We got a lot of your questions, and we hope we can get to all of them with the time we have. So bear that in mind, and hopefully we'll get all of your questions answered. So the team, for those of you who've seen this slide before, as you can see, this slide is running out of space. And this is basically because we're expanding. We are bringing more and more people so we can really provide the necessary attention to you and provide the best tools and support we can give to the community, whether it's the forums or center code or to you individually, basically providing as much attention as possible. So we're currently 9 people. With me today, as you could probably hear in the background, is Ila, with the beta team lead. I guess you all know her. And Irad, who has recently joined us from the communities team. Okay, so beta community overview. We talked a little bit about ourselves. Let's talk a little bit about you. So basically, as you all know, communities are what make Waze, Waze, basically. Waze is a community-based navigation app. And with that, we host one of the most unique communities, which is you guys, the beta community. You guys allow us to test our app globally and across basically every single device that is out there in all different countries live. And this is something that is really special for us, and it provides us the type of feedback that not a lot of apps can provide. Being able to cover each device, each country, each every little feature in every specific region is something that is key for us as Waze, and this is really what makes you guys special. So this community is really, really special for Waze, really special for the entire organization. When we talk about all the different regional communities, this is something that stands out as a global community, which can really deliver on a lot of really important tasks for Waze, and we'll discuss that in a few minutes. We also have, as part of the thousands of testers we have globally for iOS and Android, we also have about 100 beta leaders, which are basically people among you who provide us with kind of this community moderation. They are kind of our eyes and ears in the forums, and they do an incredible job with highlighting things we might miss or things that we need to know about. Let's talk a little bit about the global activity. So I said we have a bunch, a lot of countries, a lot of devices spread globally. This is a really quick distribution of active users we have across countries. Don't worry, we have more than 10 countries in the community. This is basically just to show you what we look at sometimes. This is information we had from Google Analytics, and it's rounded numbers. The reason we show you this is not to tell you that the US has a lot of attention and a lot of activity going on. It's more for us to explain that sometimes we have features that we want to roll out, even if it's a specific region or a smaller region. For example, France or Italy, where recently we have launched 2 features which the French and Italians might recognize, which is ZTL and Critère. So for us, we look at this information so we understand we have enough testers in this region before we even roll out the beta. So I said you guys are testing some important features. So here are some of the main features you guys had a chance to test last year. These are huge features. Each and every feature that you look at right now is a feature that the company has been working on for a really long time, and they're really, really important for us as an organization. For example, if you look at ASR and HOV, these are huge features that were released last year, and your feedback has been one of the most significant parts of the rollout. Some of you might remember we rolled out surveys about ASR, for example. We had you testing HOV lanes gradually in different places, and basically you were the first to go on the road and do those things for us. And basically, this is how important it is. It provides this really crucial initial feedback that without it, what would be rolled out is what you guys have tested. So thank you very much again for doing that. And this slide just goes to show you just how many features and how many different things you guys are doing. Talking about that, the scale of things is getting bigger and bigger. Only last quarter, so Q4 of 2017, you guys posted over 6,000 posts in the forum. This is a lot of different feedback posts that you guys showed your engagement in the forums with. And you also posted over 1,000 bugs throughout the last year. So 1,000 bugs, over 1,000 bugs a year. This is a big number for the community. We're happy to say we've managed to address about 90% of those bugs. That being said, we also had a lot of progress with the older bugs. We know there's been some bugs that kind of been waiting for a while, so we are constantly just trying to monitor those and see if they're still relevant, and if they don't, we're at least trying to get them closed and explaining why. To complement bugs, so suggestions. Suggestions is a topic we know you guys have a lot of questions about, and probably had some doubts about. So this is why we have this slide to kind of explain how things work on our end, and just to show you how the thought process of suggestions work from our end. So in short, to explain this chart you see in front of you, the most upvoted suggestions are reviewed by us. We simply go to center code and we filter by the most upvoted suggestions, and we try to make a quick judgment first to see is it something that is highly crucial, something that is what we call like a P0, like something that is really, really important, really crucial type of suggestion. And if we see that it is something that is highly crucial, then we push it directly to the relevant product manager. That's what you see at the bottom, the bottom yellow circle. Also, if we see that it's something that not necessarily the most scalable thing, let's say it's something that is not important for Waze as a product, but is important for you as testers or in a specific region, then and it is something that is also easy for us to do, then again we will do the same. We push it directly to the relevant product manager and hopefully can implement it as fast as possible. On the other leg of this chart, so that there is something that is a bit more long-term or something that is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, then this is where we try to consolidate all those suggestions together, and we bring it up in a meeting we have with different product managers once in every 2 weeks. And then in this meeting, basically, we try to get better scale of the suggestions. So we try to see in the same meeting if other communities, for example, let's say there's a local community in the US, maybe this is a suggestion that came up there as well. And also we join forces with the support team. We also ask them, for example, if you guys made a suggestion, if this is something that came up in the support cases. So then we basically make a decision together with the product manager. We try to see if this is something that we feel that is, not a scalable solution, or something that is really, really hard for very low value. Then we let you guys know that it's not the roadmap. This is where you see a suggestion being closed as reviewed and closed. If this is something we see that it has some value, it affects some users, but again, it's not one of those really high impact suggestions. That's where we bring it to low priority. So we don't dismiss the suggestion at all. We just say, let's keep it in the agenda as a low priority. To let you guys know it's something that is not going to happen in the short term. We put it as reviewed, but it doesn't mean it's not part of our agenda in the next meeting. So basically, you see the rounded arrow that goes back to the meeting. We try to keep it, in the loop for the next meetings. The very good suggestions, the ones that we feel that are high impact suggestions or can affect a lot of communities, those are the suggestions we try to prioritize. We really try to make our case, explaining why is it something that is really, really important for Waze, or in some cases, as I said, why it's really important for the community. And we're going to talk about this as part of your questions soon. And then basically those that are prioritized are usually implemented as quickly as we can, and we try to provide the best timeframes we can. We know, there's been some our activity on our end hasn't been perfect, and this is something we're working on. We're trying to bring those really old suggestions that had a lot of votes up in the front. It's not easy. We're really trying to get you the best answers possible and be as transparent as we can with you. And we believe this is something with the team we have right now is something that's going to be rolling much quicker this year. So this is something we're looking forward to, and we're going to talk about this again in the next slide. Okay, so targets for 2018. So something we didn't discuss, which is a very big topic for us, is the integration of all the forms. Basically, all the forms at Waze are going to move to one place. It's a new forum system hosted by a company called Lithium. We know it's something that we've been talking about a lot. You guys probably received a lot of kind of warning emails again and again from us, but we do see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's sooner rather than later going to happen. We really hope that together with integration to the new forum system, which again, something that took a while to get, as we have different communities hosted on different systems. In our case, it's center code. So migrating everything into one and making sure that all the different, there's different ranks, different emojis, different text. So all those things have to be merged into one. And together with that, we hope to, refresh the community and recruit more testers. We have been holding this back a little bit, recruiting more testers, simply because we wanted to get Lithium done first, so the migration to the new forum first. And with that, we wanted to also increase the community. So a lot to look forward to when it comes to the forums, and also accepting more testers to our community. Improve the better community knowledge base and onboarding experience. So part of having new forums is also a chance to help us create a better onboarding experience for you. And when I say for you, it's for new testers that come in, and also for you guys who might have questions every now and then. If it's center code, or it's going to be Lithium, or generally speaking about how to become a better tester. So the plan is to host some dedicated webinars like that, but specifically about the new introduction to Lithium, and basically better materials around how to test. We currently have a help center which is up to date, but we're planning to make it modified for Lithium, and at the same time we want to translate it to more languages, so it's easy for those of you who are not necessarily native English speakers to be the best testers they can. We also want to have some tutorial videos about all the things I mentioned, and more newsletters, and generally speaking, just better resources that will really help us push the quality of testing forward, and for you to have a much better experience testing. The other thing, as I mentioned in the previous slide, is to focus more on better suggestions. We really hope that we're going to be able to get a better pace with suggestions and get better transparency with you, and hopefully we'll be able to really answer a lot of those suggestions that have been left behind in the previous year. With that, we get to the Q&A. So you guys asked us a lot of questions. We tried to, if a question was asked a number of times, we tried to merge it together and kind of restructure it a little bit just so it will be clear for everybody looking at the question from home. So we're going to begin with a few questions that were asked about Android Auto. There were a lot of them, surprisingly. So we're going to answer them first, and then we're just going to go by some random order, okay? So, first question. So it's basically two questions. The question was, when will it be possible to give voice commands from Android Auto? And would Waze on Android Auto work offline? So to answer the first one, currently Android Auto supports voice commands that are Google voice commands. So that means OK Google rather than OK Waze. We understand that the question was, when will it be able to do similar type of what we call ASR, so OK Waze type of questions. This is something that is currently not planned. As far as Waze on Android Auto for offline work, then this is something we also understand that some people are struggling with on lower quality networks. But at the same time, Waze is something that really relies on that real-time directions and reports. So at the same time, this is something that, again, not planned for Waze on Android Auto. Will Android Auto on the phone be available again? Simply put, yes. So it's going to make a comeback on beta soon. So stay tuned about that. This is something that will come back for testing. Is Waze for CarPlay on the roadmap? Is the problem on Waze side or the App Store? So the problem is on Apple's side, and by that I mean that Apple CarPlay at the moment only supports third-party apps which are related to messaging and audio. So that being said, there is no option at the moment for CarPlay to support a third-party navigation app. And once they approve that, then I'm sure that it will draw attention on our end, and can't tell right now, but pretty sure this is something that will happen once CarPlay permits third-party navigation apps. Are you working on heads-up display option? So the answer is yes. There is not much details about this right now, but we can say that we have some. We have been partnering with some automotive accessory suppliers that manufacture those HUDs for different cars that support Android Auto, and the plan is to support them in the future. Yes. Is there a plan to use our vehicle GPS system, not using the phone's GPS when using Waze for Android Auto, something similar to what Google Map is doing at the moment? So it is in our best interest to have as little as possible battery use from the device. So definitely it's in our best interest to allow GPS from the car. This is something that we see as part of the future of Android Auto for Waze. But there is no time frame for when it's going to happen. But it's definitely on the roadmap. When are you going to add the route choice by map instead of list of roads on Android Auto? So basically similar to the Waze app. So unfortunately, this is something that is not on the roadmap for now. Next question. How are people racking up 100,000 points a week? So we guess that this is a question about cheaters and Waze, generally speaking. So we do have a product system that is supposed to automatically catch this type of cheaters. We also have the editors community, which is supposed to monitor and report those type of cheaters. I can tell you that we have a lot of people that we block every now and then for those type of things. But other than that, if also for you guys, if you see something that looks peculiar, then feel free to let us know. Are you planning to add more levels and incentives for your top users, Waze royalty? Then the answer is yes. Can't say much more than that, but the answer is yes. Why does the search for points of interest option result so many distant results and miss so many close by? I often have to leave the app and use Yelp for restaurants. So you guys have made a suggestion a long time ago about the radius of category search not being uh, sufficient. So for example, if you would search for a hospital or a gas station, then it was too far and there wasn't any close hospitals, and it would show no results. So this is something we have fixed. And together with that, we had some unexpected side effects about this category search and like distant result search. So we're actually tackling those type of issues by the day. So we are actually hoping that in the next few weeks, this is something that will get significantly better. Have you decided to acknowledge the UI problems that are causing screen burns on all the devices? Are you taking any steps to correct the UI design to prevent this problem?
So this is something
we are definitely aware of. We especially are aware of it since a lot of the new devices support the AMOLED devices. So far, we didn't have that many devices. There were some. It was one of the really cheaper devices. So despite the fact that this is something that is manufacturer flaw, we're still tracking this problem. So we don't really have that many examples yet. Like I know you guys have raised that in the suggestions, but when it comes to the worldwide users we have, this is not something we have yet seen as a really, really big issue. But at the same time, it's not gone from our agenda. It is in our agenda, and we are kind of pulse check every now and then about what's going on with that. And if we will feel like it's more than just a manufacturer flaw that is on specific devices, then we will definitely act to solve this problem. Why can't we have our favorite list auto alphabetized? So this is in our agenda again. This is something, one of those examples we thought, oh, it's going to be easy to do, let's push it right away. And then we discovered it's actually a lot more complicated than we thought for many reasons. But this is something that is on the agenda and will be hopefully soon implemented. Will TTS means text-to-speech, will be available in France. So it is actually already available in France and also in the French language. The name of the voice is called Vanessa. So for whoever asked, please check. And if you don't see it in France or in the French language, please let us know. Why Waze ETA today is not so accurate compared to Waze ETA in a few months ago. Even Gmaps is more accurate than Waze. We all know the day before, the ETA Gmaps is not so accurate than Waze, but today it's reversal between Waze and Gmaps. What happened with ETA and routing? So it's really hard for us to relate to the specific question as we don't know the specific example where the ETA wasn't as good. If there is one thing we can say is that the ETA compatibilities with Waze are only getting better and better, simply because we are the only app that basically has a bunch of different vehicle types, as you know, different roads, if it's HOV, toll roads, whatnot. All those things are supposed to make Waze ETA better and more accurate. So if there are specific examples, again, we're happy to review. If there's a feeling that the ETA is not as good as it used to be for specific instances, then we'll definitely be happy to hear about it. But as far as generally speaking, there shouldn't be any problem. Is there any plan to change the report comment section so that the user that initiated the report can get a message in their log messages to check later? There are actually two questions here. So the answer for this is yes, it's something we're working on. Also, is there any plan to add a search line to see if the forum title matches what the user is looking for? So in this case, again, with Lithium coming in, we're sure this search capabilities are going to be much better than center code. So we're kind of waiting to see how the latest version, final live version of Lithium will look like. And if there's something that you feel is going to be a problem or something that is missing from what you expected or missing from center code, then there will be a dedicated channel for you to communicate it back to us. And we really want to make sure that Lithium is an upgrade from center code. And with that, I'm gonna pass the mic over to Ila, who will continue from here.
Hi guys. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ila, and I'm leading the beta community team in Waze for the last 4 years, even a bit more. So I'll take it from here for the next questions. We'll start with this one. When will the beta program reopen for iOS users? So just like Dean mentioned before, so we're waiting for the Lithium launch, which is critical for the recruitment for iOS and also for Android. We will definitely recruit many new iOS testers in the upcoming month via all the social media channels and stuff like that. So no worries about that, and we'll keep you posted. And of course, you can bring your friends, family, whoever you want. Next question. I'm sorry about the noise if you hear it. When will we start using the beta channel features of the Play Store to distribute betas instead of manual installation? So some of you might took part of the pilot that we had. We had a few pilots to try and test the Play Store distribution channel, but it didn't work very well. It's mainly because of some, like the structure of the app, like the Waze app. We had some issues with the way we send it with the APK, basically. So at the moment, we don't think that we'll do it in the near future, but we're still testing it from time to time. And of course, you will be the first to know if we change it to the Play Store channel. But at the moment, we will stick to the current method with CenterCard. Next question, is it possible to force CenterCard to correct those issues we started 2 years ago? So we are aware, of course, of all the issues we have with CenterCard, mainly with the search and some features. We must say that we are talking with CenterCard on a daily basis. By the way, it's a company listed in the US, close to LA, not close to us, but still we talk to them a lot, and we forward and trying to address all your issues. We have a dedicated forum in CenterCard that we keep there all the issues and all the examples from you guys. So please use it just to give more examples for specific cases that you know that the search or the filters didn't work well, because we can send it to them and it would be easier to understand what's the issue. But we definitely don't ignore it, and also they are very aware of the issues that you comment about. When will Waze Carpool be available in more countries? So for those of you who don't know, at the moment it's open in some states in the US and in Israel. We are planning during 2018 to open it in much more states in the US, and also in a few more countries. We don't have the final answer for that yet, because we don't really know. But as I said before, you will be the first to know, because we, of course, want you to take also part of the beta activity in the carpool services and to help us test the driver and also the rider side. So when we have updates, we will let you know. Why do you seem to ignore issues when all beta testers believe something is wrong, but Waze believe it's just fine? Battery saver is the perfect example. So, okay, I have a lot to say about that, actually. For those of you who know me, you know I'm talking a lot about this feature. And in general, like, it's highly important for us to mention that we're doing our best all the time to review feedback. Okay, if it's like bug reports and suggestions, then we really try to make the best decision in order to make Waze better. Now, when we speak about the battery saver, it is a great example actually for something that we changed only based on the feedback we got from the beta community. After we read all your feedback, it's been like a few months and it went like back and forth with the product team, with the developers. But in the end, we decided to do something only based on your feedback. And we decided to activate the battery saving mode by using a special tech code that you will get in the upcoming month. We hope it will be in 1 or 2 versions from now, which means that you will be able to drive. You won't need like to set it every in the beginning of every session of your drive. You will just have it on, and it will be open by configuration only for beta testers. Now, something that is very important for me to mention here, that it's really important that you be aware that we never ignore your feedback. Okay, everything that is coming from you, as you can see, our team, like the beta team, is much bigger now, only to cover your feedback and only to be able to much more responsive for your requests, for your bugs, for everything that you say in the forums or whatever in center code. So sometimes, yeah, we won't agree and we won't prioritize it as high as you expect, but we never ignore you. We always address it with the product team, with the developers. We always open internal bugs. So please keep it coming and keep that in mind. And don't forget that you are thousands of beta testers, and we are one team that try to cover everything as fast as we can. But again, we never ignore you. Will the issue of Waze taking over Google Assistant ever get resolved? So we are aware of the Google Assistant compatibility, and we know that there are some issues with the OK Waze, and we're working on short-term and also long-term solutions. We don't have like a time frame for these solutions, but we're aware of it, and we hope that we'll be able to share with you some results soon. Both Waze and Google Maps are owned by Google. That's true. Why don't you combine the best of both to create a superior all-around application? So as I guess all of you know, Google Maps and Waze are 2 different brands focusing on different things. At Waze, we focus purely on the driver experience. We really want the driver to be on the focus. While Google Maps provide a more like holistic experience. Let's put it this way, like public for transportation, walking, for bike, for many other things, which is not like the driver experience. These are like essentially basically 2 different apps, 2 different products, and there's no plan at the moment to combine between them. And again, if there are any plans, and Google will reconsider it, you will be the first to know, and we will have like a huge beta community for both apps, but no plans at the moment. When can we expect to see better integration with Google Play Music? So Play Music is not on the roadmap at the moment, but some good news for those of you who missed it somehow. Spotify integration is supported these days, and this was a huge step for us. We do want you please to let us know what kind of Google Maps integration and Google Play Music integration, everything that you want to see via the suggestions in center code. There is one open suggestion that I saw for the Google Play Music. It's in number 779, which means that if you go for that and vote for it, as you saw in the suggestion method that Dean presented before, so we're looking for as many votes as possible for each suggestion. So if we see that many of you want to see the Google Play integration, we will consider it, like maybe to consider it to bring it and to implement it faster. So with that being said, I will move the mic to Irad. Thank you.
Hey guys, what's up? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Irad. Just moving from the community team to the beta team. Super happy, super excited for this first webinar and the opportunity to maybe answer some of these questions the best I can.
So we'll start with the first one. This is regarding why Waze cannot reestablish network after momentarily losing 3G, 4G connection. So anything that has to do with network loss is something that we need to investigate on a single basis. Waze as a product, as a service, relies on this real-time data and an all-time connection to the real-time servers and the internet. So this relates also to any other plans that you might be wondering about regarding offline routing and offline support and offline reporting and anything else that we've had experience with in the past, but decided not to put too much resources in. So loss of network, reconnection, these are things that we need to look into on a single basis. Again, send out your examples in center code, logs, username logs, everything templated, and we'll check it. We'll check it with the devs. But keep in mind that Waze, as a product and an online service, does rely on internet connection. So momentarily loss of reception is kind of a big issue. All right. Are you planning to add more levels and incentives for your top users? Waze royalty. Okay, so overall, there is a plan to improve the gamification aspect of Waze, not only for the top users, not only for the Waze royalty, but for everyone. We already have some screen designs that we might be able to share with some of you. We'll need to get designers' approval for that because these are not final. This is only in the beginning stages of designing. But yeah, there's a lot that we want to do to bring back the incentives, and it's not even the incentive; it's just the fun of being part of this social community and fun driving experience. More moods, different gamification aspects. This is totally on the table, and we'll check with the designers what we can share at this point, and we'll be happy to do that. Right. Is there any plan to change the report comments section so that the users that initiated the report can get a message in their logged messages to check later? Also, is there any plan to add a search line to see if a forum title matches what a user is looking for? So these are two different questions. The first one regarding comments on reports, this has already been improved greatly in the app, and we have a phase 2 already in spec and development to improve everything that's related to comments on reports. This was actually initiated first when we spoke about, for those of you who don't know, about comments on real-time closures. So when a driver reported a real-time closure and somebody commented on this closure, eventually this message would arrive with partial information or no information at all, and it wouldn't always go to inbox, if at all. So this is the experience that we're currently focusing on, and it's the first and top priority feature being currently developed on the product side. So definitely comments that are going to be pushed into the inbox and include more information. The second part of the question regarding search in the forum. Just a quick note because it's related to us moving to the Lithium platform. Everything from the forum section in center code will be migrated to Lithium, so search will behave a little bit differently. Once we do this import, we'll start to check if the search is working better on the Lithium side. But currently, nothing we can really answer for right now. All right. Will there be any plans to introduce lane assistance in Waze? So yes, the answer is definitely. We've already started planning and developing parts of the initial feature to support lane guidance. It's a tricky feature. We're going to introduce this during the 2018 meetups and further webinars further down the road. It's a bit tricky to implement because it's related both to the WME, the Waze Map Editor, and the client. It's a collaborative feature. So we need to provide a good experience for the map editors who are going to provide us all this information about lanes, and then translate that to good UI and experience for the client. But the answer is yes. Okay, when will beacons be implemented largely in major cities? Can you provide any information about upcoming implementation projects? So currently there's nothing much changed with the beacons project. We're moving pretty slow. It's a relatively small team working on it, but getting pretty far with it. We've already implemented in some tunnels across USA, Europe, and I think there's also one in Brazil. We're currently,
Rio.
Okay, Rio. We're currently very focused on the Boston tunnels. I know that's a major focus right now. I believe that after we're done with this, we'll expand to more major cities. I know there are cities waiting in line and they're very interested in this. We've already partnered with some DOTs and municipalities who want this. Again, this is based on how many resources we have to dedicate to this project, and currently it's a relatively small team. But yeah, definitely we want this to expand as much as we can. What happened to the navigation options, fastest and shortest route? So those of you who are in Center Code, I believe all of you are, might have seen my answer just a few hours ago about Waze navigation. Fastest and shortest route are no longer, actually haven't been part of the way we calculate routes anymore. So basically we were left with fastest route that was pretty much optimal or best route, and shortest route, which was an unmaintained system that mostly caught up with bugs and just pretty much neglected. So we removed these two options from the client and stayed with what we've been sticking with for the past, I would say, 2 years. The optimal route, the best route. We've done a great amount of research into driver experience and needs globally. Of course, drivers are not the same in every country, and different drivers expect different experiences from the app. We do try to make everything localized, but we do maintain one unified system for routing, and that's the optimal route. You can read my post in Center Code if you want to expand your knowledge on how the routing mechanism works. It's pretty interesting. Any chance of treating electric vehicle charging like gas stations? Short answer, yes, definitely on the table. No ETA at the moment. We'll share when we know more. Are you going to make a truck version of Waze? How about multiple stops for route drivers? So this is something that we've been saying over and over again, that Waze will not support trucks or multiple stops. But again, this may be something that we could support a year, 2, 3, maybe more from now. It's just a technical difficulty, all the technical difficulties that come with supporting trucks. Height and width, and I think it actually relates to the next question. Yeah, is Waze going to introduce a facility to put height and width restrictions of vehicles? So yeah, This question and the previous one regarding height and width and all kinds of restrictions is currently a bit difficult for us to implement, but it's definitely something that we can look into as we progress with other features. Keep in mind, this will also be a bit of work, a lot of work on the Waze map editors eventually, because this is information that they will have to insert through the WME. So this is also something to take into account. But the pretty good news is that we've already started implementing a new road type, which is alleys, which is also going to be penalized and scored differently in the routing algorithm. So basically, as we introduce more vehicle types in Waze, different road types will be introduced in the WME. The first one going to be introduced and already in development is alleys. We'll expand about these row types in the center code, or those of you who are part of the Waze beta WME community will write about that more. Okay, thanks for the implementation of broken traffic lights. Is there any intent on linking it to specific intersection points and then having it able to show for multiple directions of traffic? A typical broken traffic light in South Africa causes traffic congestion in all 4 directions. So almost every experience that we introduce to the Waze client really relies on the data that we get from the drive itself. So reporting a traffic jam, let's say, for example, wouldn't have much effect if the traffic speeds don't match up. So reporting a broken traffic light doesn't have any effect on the routing or the ETA, as long as we don't calculate matching ETAs from these 4 directions. Meaning there is no use to report a broken traffic light from all 4 directions, because it has no effect on the routing or the way we calculate the ETA. Unless this broken traffic light does have an effect on, okay, let's take these 4 directions. At the moment, all 4 directions will probably suffer from the same traffic jam or different ETAs. So this is something that will be reflected in the ETA for each direction, but it has nothing to do with the traffic lights. So currently, there is no plan to introduce reporting a broken traffic light from different directions. This is definitely something that could change if we see that we can link it to the Waze real-time driving data. Definitely worth looking into, but nothing that I know of currently planned. Right. Thank you very much. That was the end of the Q&A session. Hila, I think this concludes the webinar.
Yeah, let's see if they have online questions, because we have 10 more minutes.
Okay, take a look at the questions.
So guys, if you have questions that we missed or something in addition, we have a few more minutes to go over your questions in the GoToWebinar. We cannot hear you, but we can read what you see, what you write.
Okay, so
maybe questions, so you need to.
Yeah, I'll read it.
Yeah.
So first of all, I see that we already answered a lot of the questions in the question panel. So we'll just run through a few of them that I guess we haven't. I'd suggest that you have, one of the questions is, I'd suggest that you have a video to show people how to go through the initial steps needed for beta testing as well as updates. So this is everything that has to do with onboarding?
Yeah, so Dean is actually working right now these days on a video for the onboarding. Further than that, we did add already to the homepage for new testers a manual, like instructions, and it has a lot of links to many resources in the help center that we launched this year for the beta program. So in the meantime, you can definitely use the manual that we posted. It's in the homepage in center code for new testers mainly, but everyone can have a look, of course. And we will post when we have the video launched. We're waiting for Lithium for that, because we want to do one video to explain about the onboarding experience for both platforms. once it was migrated.
Right. Another question: will Waze solve the problem with ETA when the route cross time zones? This is a question that we've gotten quite a bit. Crossing time zones, if it's between states in the U.S. or countries, bordering countries with different time zones. As far as I've checked, the core beta team is looking into it. We have already managed to reproduce it. I will take a look and reply in center code, definitely. Right? Let's see. Okay. Let's see. A lot of comments about the echo issue that we had.
Sorry about that.
Okay, let's take this one. A lot of these questions give me the sense that there are a lot of unhappy testers. Just wanted to say that it is not representative of everyone. We really appreciate that you are busy, you're listening, doing your best, and we appreciate including us. Thank you very much. It's not a question.
We love you.
Yeah, I thought there was a question, but
it's not a question, but it's a good one. Whoever wrote it, we love you.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's check out this one. Hey, you cannot have an SOS button when you accidentally get an exact position, so the rescue service, police, ambulance, and fire department will find it easier to find someone who has experienced something. I do not ask to call from the button, but just get up the position and how far you are, for example, from takeoff road. I have to admit that I did not fully understand the question. It has to do with the
SOS button.
SOS button. Yeah. We acknowledge that not many of you are English speakers, so the language barrier can be a bit difficult. If it's, by the way, easier for some of you to communicate with one of your community coordinators or local champs that can post questions for you in English in standard code, that could be really great. We can then provide answers for all your questions.
Or we would understand it also if we just submit it in center code and we have more time to read it.
Lane assistance, yeah, we've already answered. Okay, are you planning to introduce restrictions for heavy goods vehicles in Waze? Okay, again, this has to do with height and width and other parameters that we do not support right now. For lane guidance, can you import the data from state departments of transportation? The Iowa DOT had XML configuration files you can import. So importing KML files and data from DOTs, as I've experienced, is a little bit tricky. It comes with all kinds of legal aspects that we need to go through. Usually when you go into these websites and they say it's free to use and stuff like that, it usually has these small letter lines saying that we have to give credit or we have to link to some kind of website, things that we don't usually do as a service. So any information that you have from a DOT or KML files, bring it up. We'll check with the legal team. If this is something we can do, then yeah. But from my experience, this is usually something a little bit trickier from the legal aspect.
Let's cut it with one last feedback. Actually, it's only because I liked it. I'm kidding, but from Stefan. So you want to read it?
Yeah. I'm very impressed with the content of his webinar, this webinar. I'm particularly impressed with the fact that you are answering tough questions to the best of your ability. Keep up the good work. I'm noticing a lot of good changes in the philosophy of the operation. Webinars are a good example.
Good. So this is an amazing feedback to summarize this webinar. We are almost out of time, and we want to respect your time and your weekend, and we know like you joined during your Sunday. So with that I guess we will say goodbye. And again, thank you very much for joining us today. It was a pleasure, and we like to see all your questions and all your activity in Center Code and everything. We are planning to have at least one webinar every quarter from now on, and to keep you more engaged, more motivated to be part of this beta program. So we'll see you in Center Code. We will also post the recording of this webinar for those of you, for the guys who missed it. And I guess this is it. Anything I missed?
Oh, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend, a great week tomorrow, and we'll see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.